Welcome back to CBS News 24/7 Primetime. I'm Juliette Goodrich. Today, Iran launched a barrage of missiles at American forces in the Middle East. This as the U.S. and Saudis strike Tehran-backed militias in Iraq. And then take a look at the aftermath of the airstrikes. Buildings and cars were left destroyed by the U.S. and Saudi strike on Tehran-backed militias in Iraq. At least 20 fighters were killed and 32 others wounded in these overnight strikes. So I want to bring in retired U.S. Navy Vice Admiral Robert Murrett to talk more about this. Robert, thanks for joining us. Was it a risk for Saudi Arabia to join the war?
Yeah, Julia, I would say that it is. They've been largely kept out of things with the focus on the other Gulf states up until this point, and been communicating very regularly with the Iranians, between the Saudi Arabia and the Iranians, to try to stay above the fray to some degree. But that's kind of changed, both in terms of the attacks on the Iranian surrogate forces inside Iraq, but also with their attacks on the Houthis over the past weeks because of concerns that the Saudis have about all their facilities on the Red Sea.
Yeah, so at this point, any signs of diplomacy soon?
Yeah, I think it's a question of degrees, Juliet. There's always diplomacy taking place at some level, whether it's, a really serious diplomacy, such as the ones we've had brokered by the government of Pakistan, Vice President Vance, for example, participating, or just kind of the day in, day out lower level communications that exist all the time. I would say diplomacy right now is at a fairly low ebb. And one other comment I would make is we've seen the president in the White House today kind of telegraphed that there might be some more American attacks on Iran tonight, which he does periodically, and his language is pretty strong along those lines just today.
When we talk about diplomacy, is there a hard stop on it when things happen, or does it take a long time?
I think, in answer to your question, Juliet, it's a great point. I think this one's going to take a long time. Two things I would mention. The first is there's going to have to be a diplomatic solution of some type. I mean, the Straits of Hormuz, take that for example. There's really no military solution to securing the Strait of Hormuz and having ships move in and out at scale at the numbers like 130 or so a day that existed before the war started in February. So eventually there's going to have to be some kind of diplomatic solution. My own sense is that's going to take quite a while because of how hard-nosed the Iranian diplomatic negotiators are, and also the fact that the hardliners in Tehran, the RGC and others, seem to be ruling the roost at this point. So I think they're going to push pretty hard for some tough negotiations, and I don't see those being completed anytime very soon.
Yeah, there's just not an on-off switch. All right, Robert Murrett. Robert, thank you so much.
Go ahead.